Sleep. Oh, they used to, a little bit different than no, they used to call it they would call it harass Main Street shows. You know. Oh boy. Go, oh what? It's a financial option. You're like
Okay. Is it taking up the full screen of the TV?
You guys have an extra agendas?
Oh, my clock says the party is about to get started. Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome to the CROA board meeting. Oh, look at all of you. I'm so excited you're all here. Thank you for being here. And we're going to get things started. Oh, yeah, my wife's finally here. Okay. Thank God too, Jeffrey.
I was going to say, that looks like Jeffrey.
It looks like Jeffrey Mallon, doesn't it? We'll talk more about him later. Oh, cool. Thank you. Woo-hoo. All right. Let's get this started with asking if the meeting was properly noticed.
It was properly noticed.
And I can count, so I know we have a quorum. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, let's call the meeting to order and start with the best part, owners' comments. And oh my God, is this really? We thought we were going to get out of here fast, but apparently we were wrong. So let's start with Barbara. You're number one.
Okay, may I relinquish my time to Claire?
Claire is number two.
Look at that.
All right, so Claire, you are you and Barbara at the same time.
Go, Claire.
Okay.
Go, Claire.
Hi, I'm
Claire,
Claire.
come on up to the mic. I'm sorry. We gave you your own mic and everything.
Name and address.
Oh, and your address, please. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Claire LeBrunery, and I've owned In Celebration since 1999, first on Campus Street and now at 517 Longmeadow. Separately, I'm a 40-year veteran of the financial world, specializing in emerging markets and joint venture contracting. I've participated in the Advantage Tennis Tuesday and Friday morning clinics. I did that for about a little over a year, at about $20 an hour for each of the 3 to 5 participants. And I took about a half dozen private lessons as well with Advantage for about $90 an hour. And I also participated in the clinics at Star Island. Importantly, I've also become an active member of the celebration-based public community women's league, playing on Monday and Thursday mornings and representing what I think is a vibrant part of the celebration community building. This group of approximately 40 women, and there is a comparable men's group as well, is close-knit, it's inclusive, and it's ever expanding. And they've become some of my closest friends over the past 18 months. We often play at other times of the day and evening, attempting to make ad hoc use of the 5 community courts at Lakeside Park, since there's no permitted sign-up allowed at Lakeside. I've also reviewed the contract for Advantage, which appears to have been drafted for signature about a year ago. There are a number of serious concerns that some of us have as to the key terms, the enforceability, the fairness, the fiduciary responsibility implied in the contract, and generally a lack of transparency. So I want to raise a few questions and comments as I go through. So the contract itself, who led the development of the contract from within CROA? It sounds like the vendor dictated it. Have other more inclusive contractors and providers ever been given a chance to competitively bid? And if not, why not? Why should there be an exclusive contract given to Advantage, especially at what is apparently sweetheart pricing if you do the math? Is there a defined set of violations that would force a change of contract? If not, why not? Termination language should be clearly stated in any contract. For instance, what if one of his coaches, and this is perhaps a long shot, but reasonable to ask, is teaching without a criminal background check, and it turns out that coach is a sex offender? There appear to be zero safeguards for that. On insurance and liability, does CROA possess copies of the Advantage insurance covering accidents and lawsuit? And is the town a named beneficiary? Has Advantage ever produced a criminal background check on all the coaches? Where are they kept? How often are they updated? Who's responsible for that on the board? Who monitors the CROA revolving door of approved coaches? Do approved coaches carry a badge from the town stating that they are approved? I don't think so, based on my experience down there. Residents versus non-residents. And this really goes to the women's group that I love so much. Does the town have an enforcement mechanism or plan in place for non-resident screening? I see officers checking residents periodically for badges, but I never see officers going into a clinic and asking for an ID. Never. Does Advantage instruct clinic participants from wherever to carry their badges? I don't think so from experience. Does Advantage do any screening at all of non-resident participants, or are these simply strangers off the street? Is there a limit on how many attending family members can come to these clinics? Does any rule for behavior for non-celebration participants get posted? From my experience, no. What about parking? What about dogs? What about driving down there? What about parking without the passes that other people have to show that they're celebration residents? What about common courtesy? I've been down there as kids are running back and forth the courts that I'm playing on, as dogs are pooping and nobody's picking up their stuff in the park. And it's kind of becoming a zoo down there on certain evenings. Scheduling. On what basis can Advantage ask for and receive changes to the scheduling that permit him, for example, to take over courts on a Saturday morning, as he did last Saturday morning, or use 3 courts instead of 2 courts? Who's approving these ad hoc changes, and how much in advance do changes need to be requested? Who originally decided the times and schedule he could use the courts? It's prime time, or did he just dictate what he wanted and the town gave? Why is so much prime time being given to a private profit-making enterprise? On pricing, who decided what would be paid each month and on what basis? Did anyone actually do a financial model looking at court usage to fees? The cost comes down to about $4. Who contributed to maintenance of the courts? Only the residents? Why shouldn't residents get a significant break on pricing as opposed to non-residents? Residents, after all, are paying for that court maintenance. So in summary, recommending to move forward with the approval of this expansive merger that they're now talking about with Star Island, we believe is highly irresponsible. Promises of adding full-time personnel down there to check IDs and badges, to build new tennis courts, that's all in the future. When that happens, then make a decision to allow for a material increase in his program. Meanwhile, there are apparently no guardrails at all supporting our community. The vibrancy of the community depends not on making a single vendor wealthy, rather on allowing for organized and inclusive groups like the women's group and the men's group. They depend on easy access to the tennis courts to easily access and enjoy them. So we're here to say that we would like an opportunity to discuss the contract with the committee and provided what appears to be much needed improvement to the terms. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on down the list, we have Michelle Miller. Michelle?
I'm Michelle Miller. I've been a resident since 2018. I live at 635 Mulberry. And if I could just say, I agree with everything that Claire stated so eloquently. I enjoy the same friendships, the same actions. I love our community, and I'd like it to be better. And I think moving forward with a discussion like this will make it better and inclusive and good for all. Thank you for your time. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
And let's see, Monica Bonilla.
Say something. This is the first CRA meeting I've attended. I just realized you have put your name down for commentary.
Oh, well, we'll get to you then.
Can I do it?
Sure. I'll let you know in a minute.
Hi, you all. I'm Monica Bonilla. I live in 1845 Fish Ridge Road, mainly known as Island Village. So I'm kind of new in this town. We moved 2 years ago, and I love it. And I want to say thank you to all of you for taking your time and trying to make this town even better. But I am part of this tennis group, and I know we're going to talk about tennis. This tennis, for me, have been very significant since I was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, and they were my support system. And for me, tennis has been like so important in my life, and I know for all the tennis gals is the same. And I realize that tennis is a great sport for not only us but for other people to try. And we're grateful that we have a tennis coach. We're not against that. What we are against is that we feel like there are so many things that we need and we can improve. Especially that sometimes I go to the court and I can find parking. There is a lot of cars there. They don't have stickers and they're there. Most of them are parents waiting for their kids that don't live here because they wait for them to pick them up, and we can't find parkings. When it was winter, it was like 5 o'clock, it was dark, and I was so nervous to go, reverse, and kids were roaming around with scooters or were playing soccer at the tennis court because they're waiting for their parents to pick them up. So it's a lot of liability for everyone. And I'm concerned that even their website is called Celebration Tennis. Their Instagram and Facebook, I find that it's kind of confusing because it seems like it's celebration tennis and not advantage tennis. And if something happened, I'm afraid that we could be liable. And we as residents, we would like to see the coverage of the insurance, and we would like to have more time of the courts, especially when you go to the court a day that we're supposed to play and they get us out of the court like that. Like, you need to leave because we're going to have the court because town hall approved it. So there are many things that we need to go over and fix and make it better. And that's why we're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Orsini.
Thank you for the opportunity, Jose Orsini. I live at 1845 Beach Ridge Road, also a newcomer to Celebration Island Village. Love the community, great community. Had an opportunity to speak last night at the Parks and Rec meeting about tennis as well. I'm a tennis player. I think overarching message here is community is growing. There are more tennis players who are residents, and we're kind of like reaching a breaking point here, guys. I mean, like it's come to the point where tense situations are happening at the courts. That there's no place for that in this community, right? I think it's great that we have an opportunity to come here and speak. It's great that we have an opportunity to come to the Parks and Rec and speak, but there's no conversation going on, right? I mean, we can express ourselves. That's great. But we need a conversation on this topic, right? I think it's way overdue. From what I've heard, and again, I've been here only for 2 years, but from what I've heard, this conversation has been going on for decades now, right? About tennis courts, about the issues with the contract and whatnot. So this is not a new business, right? But again, I think we're reaching breaking point, and I'm just trying to be very clear with this because, again, I've witnessed really tense situations in the courts, right? Traffic, kids, the coaches misinterpreting the contract, affording themselves rights that are not afforded by the contract, that sort of thing, right? So I think my main request here is please consider affording time for a back-to-back two-way conversation between either the committee or a select group of board members and a select group of tennis players. The session on this should be weighted based on what tennis players have to say about the usage of our courts. These are exclusive use courts. Somebody last night brought this up at the meeting. The website says amenities are for the exclusive use of residents, right? So, I'm sorry, but that's not truthful. So again, my request here is that please consider affording time for a meeting and a conversation on this topic. Thank you. Appreciate all you do.
Mr. Town.
Try to keep it under an hour. Nothing to do with campus.
Bring out the hook.
There you go. Downtown, 518 Longmeadow. Good evening, board and esteemed colleagues. I'd like to take a moment and reflect on the playground remediation project that is up for discussion this evening. To quote a former president, our national nightmare is over. To paraphrase, our celebration playground nightmare is over, almost over. Opportunity, a new board, a new perspective, and a new opportunity to really make a statement and quell some of the drama that this financial and PR debacle has generated. If I could make a couple of unsolicited suggestions, adequate is never adequate. Yes, we must be fiscally responsible, but here's an opportunity to create a playground that is forward-thinking, inclusive, and perhaps innovative in design. Yes, a lot of money has already been squandered, but don't take the easy path and create a subpar project that residents can't be proud of. Whichever vendor you choose to use, hold them accountable. Have them sharpen their pencil. Remind them that this is a celebration, and this can be a project that they can showcase in their portfolio. It has taken too much time and money to turn back now. Be patient and thoughtful. I know you will. And take the time to give this town a project that is fiscally sound, but also cutting edge. After so much angst that this project has generated, the residents in this town deserve a playground that is world class.
And continuing down the list, Jim, by you. No, I'm sorry.
That's it.
Always I have mispronounced that since the beginning.
Yeah, you have. That's all right.
2293 Celebration Boulevard. I'm here to talk about, everybody guess, Island Village. Okay, parking in front of the amenity center is becoming an issue. The renters are parking there every night. So people who want to come home from work and get their mail, because for those of you who don't know, all our mailboxes are at the amenity center. They have to double park. So I was hoping maybe we can get a sign that says on the side by the amenity center, parking for amenity center users only. That way we can keep the renters hopefully out of that and keep it that way. A lot of residents are complaining about this at this point. Fitness center. I'd like to suggest that we have a sign every month emphasizing one of the rules. Like, you have to have athletic shoes. Because just yesterday, 3 teenagers came in wearing sandals, socks, and clogs, which is not allowed. I've seen personal trainers in there. They're not allowed. So if we could do something every month where we emphasize a rule, I think that would be very helpful, especially because we're getting so many new people into that fitness center. Let's see. Oh, pool area. Starting to increase with the weather getting better. bikes and scooters are being all parked in the pool area. Because we don't have a bike rack. And we don't have a sign up that says, sign is inside the pool area, but not outside. So they're bringing in their bikes and scooters and parking them along windows by the community room. So we need to do something about that. Let's see. Oh, by the way, somebody tried to use the grills. They snipped the ties and opened them. We talked about this a year ago. If we're not going to be able to use those grills, we should take them out and put charcoal grills in place. If we can come up with a solution, let's come up with a solution. But the apartments are now 95% occupied down there. So a lot of stuff is going on. So we got to watch out for that. I've contacted Osceola County a half dozen times about making the alleyways down there one way, because we have some blind spots. And with the increase in motorized bicycles and scooters going in the alleyways, this is an accident waiting to happen. I know this isn't a CROA thing, but if anyone has a suggestion,
CDD.
I've tried with CDD.
They're in charge.
Yeah, well, they haven't taken over.
Oh, when they do, though.
Yeah, when they do, they can, but they haven't taken over any of the residents. They've only taken over the townhouses at this point. So I'll keep doing it. Okay. And hopefully the new signs for the park are coming, because I've seen too many, as I mentioned last night in the meeting, 300-pound gentlemen going on equipment that is for fire. Thank you.
Thank you. And last on the list, but not least, not last, Stephen, Diane Finney. Hi.
Really thought I was last on the list and had more time to prepare. But anyways, I'll read you a few things. Consider these historical documents. March 24th, 2014, Deer Park and Rec Department and Tennis Committee members. We need to meet and sort out scheduling issues with maintaining access for residents to our 5 tennis courts. Only 1 to 2 people per interested group should attend. I've spoken with Justin, Dulcie's replacement. We have tentatively scheduled a meeting. That was, again, March 24th, 2014. Problems with the tennis courts and residents' access has been ongoing for 10 years. In 2015, we sent, again, this letter to whom it may concern. Realize that managing the tennis court usage is challenging when you have existing residents who know how to play and want to continue to do so, and then you have pros who want to earn their living by teaching more people to play tennis. Eventually, there is not enough court time to satisfy the old timers or the newcomers who want to play the sport of tennis. This is assuming these are residents. This issue of non-residents has really become not only inappropriate, but perhaps illegal. What are we paying our homeowner association dues for the exclusive use of amenities if we don't have access to it? I think it's unfair that tourists that are drawn to by a website that Darren Holt, Advantage Tennis, businessman, advertises the use of 3 celebration tennis courts, an additional 4 at the high school. We cannot access the tennis courts at the high school, but he can. And I think there's also, it just kind of makes me squeamish to think that Darren Holt is the boys' high school varsity tennis coach, and his wife Rachel is the girls' varsity high school tennis coach. I believe that's undue influence for other families and people in the community that want to speak out, but don't want to jeopardize their child's chance of playing tennis. Darren's a good coach. He really should have a tennis academy, but he should be paying for it, not residents of Celebration. This is, again, years, many, multiple meetings. I brought these things up. You guys have talked about redoing the tennis courts at the elementary school, working something out with Osceola County. That never came about. Promises of an online registration system were made. That didn't come about. I've talked to other organizations that run tennis facilities, and they said, what a shame, you don't even have a paper sign-up sheet and a pencil to have some sort of timeline of who's come onto the tennis courts and 1 hour limit. Because anytime you want to go play, someone says, you know, when did you start? Oh, just now. You have to wait an hour. You know, it's just, the other thing too is the accountability of money. I brought this up to Jackson Mummy and then also Brian Kinsel. The thousands and thousands of unpaid money that Darren Holt of Advantage Tennis owes our community. And yet the Park and Rec Committee continues to sign contracts with someone I consider a thief.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
And my address is 1230 Right Circle, and we've been homeowners since 2019.
Thank you.
Okay. 1999.
Okay, Kelly, a lot longer. All right, now we have other people who want to, yes, come on up. Give us your name and your address when you get up to the mic, please.
Don, you also have a gentleman online who wants to speak out.
Oh, see, I have no idea who's up. Thank you.
Is it my turn online?
Not yet.
In 1 moment. Mr.
Okay.
Gibbs.
Okay, hi. My name's Wendy Treat. I am a 26-year resident of Celebration. I live at 503 Long Meadow Street. I also am here to talk about the tennis access issue. The adult Celebration residents are having considerable difficulty being able to go down and play tennis and find a court open. And most of the time it's due to the fact that the Advantage Tennis LLC, private for-profit company, is running lessons down there at all the prime times, usually from 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way until 8:30 in the evening. It's definitely on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then other hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and even some on Saturday, as has been noted. For instance, this week alone, from Monday through Saturday morning, 83 and a half hours of court time is scheduled by Advantage Tennis. That really it has a big impact on whether or not individual residents can come down there and play. Many times we have come down, even on the non-very busy Tuesday and Thursdays, and not be able to get a court. And primarily because there's 2 or 3 courts being taken up by Advantage Tennis. If they were not doing that down there, the odds of being able to get a court would be dramatically increased. There's only 5 courts in the entire town of Celebration. I don't know what the population is at this point, probably around 15,000. You know, the court numbers have not been increased in the entire time that we've lived here. Well, I guess there were originally 3 courts and then 2 more were added really, you know, a long time ago. But for a population size of Celebration to have 5 courts is, you know, really not adequate. But then on top of it, to take away 2 or 3 of those courts every day in order for a person for profit who, yes, is in arrears, you know, paying their fees to Celebration, which are a pittance. I think it was figured out that it was like $4 an hour that they're paying Celebration at the recreation department meeting that I went to yesterday. So they're literally almost getting it for free, and they're doing this for profit. At 80 some hours a week, they are making almost $8,000 a week. This is literally a $500,000 enterprise. And the most important thing is the amenities are for the residents, and the residents can't use it because it's being occupied. I don't understand why a private company would be allowed to profiteer from our amenities, and then we're not able to use the amenities. I understand that with 5 courts and a lot of people playing tennis, there were at least 15 people that showed up to last evening's meeting and made commentary.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Go online.
Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you very much. Like Diane and others, I've had this exact same conversation with the board and the rec committee for almost 10 years. And the situation with the tennis courts has only gotten worse without public forum, without public debate. The timesheet, if you look that Advantage Tennis has for all of the prime slots are taken by Advantage Tennis or the groups. And so if you're just a person not in a group, not taking a lesson, you have one tennis court available 4 days a week, which for 10,000 plus residents, that math just doesn't work. Again, all the evening time slots, at least 2 days a week and some on Friday, are taken again by Advantage Tennis. The contract does not state Advantage Tennis gets the prime slots. It says the schedule has to be approved by Town Hall. I do not understand why Town Hall continues to put residents last and the contractor first. Let the contractor have the courts from 11 to 4. Yes, they are fairly less pressure, but the prime slots when the residents play after work or first thing in the morning before work are all spoken for. Also, Advantage Tennis does not use all of their time slots. I understand they may not book everybody or they may have a cancellation, but the night before they should release that court. Every day this week at 7 to 8 or 8:30 a.m., they have had 2 courts under contract. One of them has been open all day. I mean, all the time. So again, a resident could have used that, but they don't show up because the slot has already been spoken for. With the merger of these new programs, they will cross the 50% resident threshold. And I want to know from the board, what's the monitoring process to make sure that does not take place? Also, what's the process that these students and parents, they will come to our courts when they're not in lesson, and they will stay after, enhancing the already strained pressure on the courts. I have suggested for 5 years a simple solution: have a 3M hook that costs about $2 on the outside of every court, and every player has to hang their CROA badge. It's not my job to police or kick off people from the hotels or non-residents that use our courts, but I do, and I feel like a schmuck, but they're not residents. But I understand we don't have and we don't need a guard to be stationed there. We can police ourselves, just make residents hang their tag. It's a very simple solution. The ultimate solution is to build new courts. I understand people want lessons and celebration, but as others have spoke, it should not be at the cost of our courts that we pay for, when our website specifically says the exclusive use of amenities for residents. That is no longer correct. Push the groups back to 8:30. That would allow 3 courts, 5 days a week, that residents could use until 8:30 a.m. Play to 7 to 8:30, get a nice match in, and then the groups can have, until, the rest of the day. Also, the contractor should not use the courts on the weekends. On Saturday mornings, when people that travel heavy want to come play, they should have the full use of the facilities. I was kicked off last Saturday on a non-scheduled time for a court by the contractor. That is not right as a resident. It was not spoken for on the list, but I was asked and removed from the court. And again, weekends at 5:30 when people get off work, we have 2 courts on 2 days a week to select from. That is not enough for 10,000 plus residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments?
I have a vendor who would like to say thank you to the board and the community.
Okay.
Exquisite, if you'll.
Of course, that's absolutely fine.
Hello, Brian Causey, Exquisite Lawn Care. As a lawn care provider in here for residential and commercial, we get a lot of criticism and we get a lot of praise. More times than not, it's criticism, but over the last 2 weeks, it has been an overwhelming amount of praise. 2 projects in particular, Penny Royal and Deer Woods Park. We didn't do this alone. We had a lot of help. right? And I'd just like to say thank you to those involved. With Pennyroyal Park, we had 3 of the residents that live right there at the park, Tom Barnes, Rick Amick, and Katie Obringer, that actually came to the meeting. They advocated for their park. They provided history with the park, and they actually provided the conceptual landscape plan for the park, which was incredible. Just absolutely incredible. We also had Russ from CCDD, who we were in constant contact because we had to cross over their easement. We tore up their easement a little bit, so we stayed in communication with them, made sure it was all patched up and repaired. On Lauren's team, we had a tremendous amount of support, both from Lauren and Liz and Brian Sankis, operations manager, and his team. They refinished the bench that surrounds the tree out there, and it looks fantastic. I want to say thank you to the CROA board, the past CROA board. They approved the project, and this CROA board, you've supported us along the way. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the help with Pennyroyal. And please don't think Exquisite did it on our own. There was a ton of help. The other one is a little bit longer of a list. Deerwoods Park was approved as volunteer labor. And I just want to give credit to everyone that came out to help. The gardening club was a huge driving factor in getting this project approved. 3 members in particular, Bill Silberman, Brad Wagoner, and Meryl Racklin. They helped to meet out there, get the project rolling, and helped with some of the design aspects. We had several residents show up on their own and several residents that were just members of the gardening club. There's a guy named Scott. I apologize, Scott. I don't remember your last name. There was a very, very nice lady from 934 Greenlawn, and I can't remember her name either. There was a lot going on. Don and Nandy Town. Don's here tonight. Thank you very much. Don wouldn't put a shovel down. He loved it. We also had a huge presence from the Creation Kids Village. And let me say, these guys came out of nowhere to help out with this project. And they must have sent out over 2 days about 30 6th and 7th graders. And then later in the afternoon, about 30 8th and 9th graders. And some of you know I don't like public speaking, but I had to speak in front of these kids. And I couldn't sleep the night before. So after watching them kind of get motivated and get moving, they really made my day. And I was very motivated for that project. Some of the members there is Melissa Barada, coach, sorry, I don't remember your name, but he's the coach there. And Nalani, who, if any of you have ever met Nalani or have a child at Creation Kids Village, holy cow, she knows her stuff. She could name every butterfly, every plant we were putting in. She's amazing. And then I want to give a huge thank you to Lauren and the entire Grand Manners team. There are too many to name. Rose was there. Brian was there. I think I saw Jeff put a plant in. Liz's team was out there. Nikki, Jason, Danny. Too many to name. But we couldn't have done that project. And we put over 5,000 plants in the ground in 2 days, which is something that in the theme parks we would have done with a team, a large team, 15 to 20 people. And we did it with kids, and we did it with volunteer work and community involvement, and that was great. So I just wanted to say thank you and make sure that Exquisite's not hogging all the spotlight there, and that everyone got the credit they deserve.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you. And thank you to everybody in town, all the folks who came out and worked on, particularly the butterfly garden project. My gosh, that was incredible stuff. And I went and looked at Pennyroyal. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really,
really gorgeous. So,
and again,
congrats.
I can't take credit for the design.
No, it looks really good. Congratulations to everybody. It's really impressive.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just one other thing before you leave, Brian, while you're going to take compliments, you did get one from resident in Spring Lake today in the service area there. Your team did an awesome job. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night.
Do I have a motion to adopt this evening's agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt with modifications.
Adopt with modifications.
I'll second.
All right, go ahead, modify away.
Do we want to add tennis as a discussion item? As
I think we need to bring that to our next workshop.
I was gonna suggest tech committee is gonna talk about it, some solutions.
Yeah, because
and
we've got some potential solutions in the works to some of the
no
problems.
board alignment or discussion?
Well, board for the workshop. This should be a workshop discussion.
I mean, we've got a whole group here.
I still think we should have it at a workshop because we've got two different committees that we need to talk to. So that's my thinking. I would prefer. Okay,
Well, I'd like to have at least 2 to 3 minutes just around alignment and at least just get on the same page on it.
okay.
Also on the agenda, I'd like to split the consent agenda into 2 items instead of the one.
Oh, yeah, for voting purposes. Okay, all right, good.
The other thing, I think we need to, the discussion item, management company contract negotiations, I thought we were doing that as an action item. That we needed an action, we needed to actually call a vote for that.
Or
Discussion item D, management company contract negotiations.
we didn't discuss that at a workshop?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did. I'm sorry.
We did.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's great. Was that supposed to be an action item?
It was requested as a discussion item.
Was it, all right, then we can leave it.
Yeah,
But-
let's
That's fine.
let's bring that around later.
Okay.
Just point of order, we can still vote on something even when it's in discussion. Correct?
You're not supposed to.
Okay.
And we shouldn't add action items that weren't noticed.
To the public. That's my biggest beef is that.
You can have consensus on discussion items and give management directives, but you shouldn't be voting and making a decision.
Motion to approve the
Well,
amend. Oh, yeah, Andrew.
On action item D,
Yep.
can we move that up to consent?
Action item G.
Just extending them through the end of the month. I don't think there's much conversation needed.
Oh, yeah, I don't see any reason not to move that to consent. Motion to amend the master resolution so that we can continue our committees for another month. Yeah, we can move that into consent item C. That makes sense?
Wait, we have,
I mean, as an action item, it could,
action D.
yeah, we can just vote on it as an action item.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Let's just go that way. Anything else?
So I'll amend my motion to accept those.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now the approval of the minutes is going to be a little different. We're going to start with approval of minutes from February 21st, 2024, on which the current board, when the current board was not involved, so therefore we would not vote on it. We would actually abstain so that we have a quorum.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? All right. That one moves along. Now to B, we can.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Financials.
Good evening, everyone. The February financials are the ones that I'm reviewing today. It was another very good month. We're on a really good trend for the year. We ended up February with a $2,000 surplus, which was actually $20,000 better than February's budget because it was budgeted to be a deficit. The couple leading items for February were landscaping was a little bit high. There was some sod put in, some design work, plants installed, that sort of thing that made landscaping a little high. We did some ice machine repairs in a couple different areas, so that made repairs and maintenance. It wasn't high for the month, but that still was a big item in that particular month. And then for as far as income, we had great income with the father and daughter dance. So we did good all the way around. Our fund balances are as follows. Operating, at the end of February was $312,000. It's a little bit lower as we're waiting for the next set of assessments to be billed. Replacement fund is a little over 2 million and the capital fund is at 3.5 million.
Do I have a motion to approve the financials?
Second. Oh, I'll move.
Move.
Second.
Second by Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Committee and partner updates. Okay, committee people, who's updating?
I'd like to just go first with finance since we were just talking about them.
Sure.
see. Sorry, I'm reading off an email to talk about the things that were of relevance here. There's some questions about the landscaping costs and improvements as Jennifer referenced. It was noted that home sales were up. Also noted that water was low, and we needed to check on that because we had an issue last year where water all of a sudden showed up one month and then it was like $20,000, something ridiculous. So that's being checked on to make sure that's going well. There's a new financial review of our balances and a quick recap. And so that's on the website, right, Jonathan? So on the website, you can view a one-page review of all of our accounts and what was budgeted for the month and what was spent for the month, and then also the year projection. So that's something definitely to look for. That's also in the board packet, but that recap was created by Andrew Beninati, the chair, and so that's something that we'll see going forward. There was discussion about the playgrounds, which we will come to when we get to that as an action item. And that's it, the financial review for the financial committee this year.
Okay, other committees, reports?
I'll talk about dog park too.
Okay,
here.
Why don't you do all three of yours?
I can.
We'll do A and C with you.
Okay. The dog park met this afternoon and came up with their 2024 resolution topics. So that came together. They talked about the events that are coming up and what they need to do. They're going to participate in the Spooky Soiree and Pups and Pints, but also they're going to create 3 events at the dog park for the dog park throughout the year. They're interested in participating on an occasional basis at the farmers market and selling merchandise like the bandanas and the Celebration branded dog merchandise here. So that's something they're going to develop. Talk about maintenance issues and things like that. Some of the landscaping stuff is going to be put off as we're transitioning landscapers for that area. And the lighting is still an issue, but there's going to be some work with the committee to evaluate what we have and what we think we paid for and what we should have to make sure that everything matches up and do some, So that's a recap for dog park.
Foundation
is bringing back the old tradition of lights and lemonade. And that's the table over here, which is per residence. They brought that here today for they're launching porch parties. They're going to have that on Sunday, April 7th from 2 to 4. And you can sign up over there and stop by for one of the porch parties that they're hosting. The Shamrock Community Challenge was a success. They hid golden rocks around town, and there were 200 rocks, but there were golden rocks that if you brought those, you win a pot of gold prize. There's still 2 out in town. So if you want to go and find them, there are 2 somewhere in Celebration to go find.
Are they real gold?
Yes. Yes. The real life.
I'm going to check the tennis court.
You are you? Yeah, I bet everybody's going to check that.
Oh, okay.
The Celebration Foundation had the opportunity to provide funding for several families in transitions, students to attend a treasured tradition of grad adventure. It was a field trip to Universal to make memories before 8th grade graduation. They awarded 16 scholarships. If you see the lawn signs around town for the students, they were awarded $1,000 each. There's yet lawn signs in the yards of all those scholarship winners. Registration is still available for Celebration Lifelong Annual Shredding Event on Saturday, April 27th, right here outside the 51 building. The first 5 banker boxes are $25 and will be shredded on site right after tax season. Their Motown Evolution concerts couldn't keep concert attendance in their seats. One more, I feel like I should read this at Kathleen voice because it's written that way. So I will practice that for next. There's one more concert April 27th at Lakeside, and tickets are still available on the website. And 2023 was the year of the volunteer. So save the date for the Celebration Foundation's Volunteer Appreciation Event, which will be Saturday, April 27th. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee?
Can I add one thing to your
recap?
That the foundation was kind enough to provide, anybody see the Nev Parade on Sunday? That was run by the foundation was kind enough to provide the deputy to escort the parade. So thank you.
How about Parks and Rec, since Katie's right next door?
My first Parks and Recs meeting last night, and everyone that was here tonight did a great job summarizing the tennis conversation that we had last night. The Parks and Recs committee has made to the board on some solutions that the board can make a decision on, which as well as for basketball, they have also made a recommendation there So what I was going to do is request that in our next workshop, we discuss both those things. Some recommendations might have some immediate effect, where some might be more long-term. Another thing that was discussed was a recommendation for the playground. They made some recommendations on what the design should include. So we're going to take those recommendations to our vendor and have them create a new design with such things that include inclusivity, possibly some interactive play. They're concerned about shade and safety with the turf as well. So we're going to get another design and have them then take a look at that for approving. And that's great.
All right, any other committees?
Just from the ARC perspective, so I'm the board liaison as a sit and listen liaison for the most part within ARC. There's definitely some areas for improvement there, mainly surrounding resident communication, as well as just some consistency in the volume that we're having to be able to approve. One of those things is hopefully going to be addressed this evening with the reappointment of a consultant that will be able to assist the committee in some of those decisions. And then also just there's a lot of what I would refer to as major projects that are occurring in the community, as I'm sure everyone has seen. Major structural requests, being redone. It's not just minor pieces that can be very easily streamlined, approved at one meeting. Sometimes these are requiring multiple rounds, or it's something that is much more than just switching out door hardware in many cases. So as the community continues to grow and as the community continues to want to evolve, we're expected to see that. And I think that it's going to be something that we will probably bring up in a future workshop or meeting to specifically address some of the concerns around ARC.
You want to talk about the workshop, the joint workshop with ARC and covenants, or you want to?
Go ahead.
You want to do covenants, or you want me to? I only have one committee, so.
Yeah, you do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we haven't had our first covenants meeting technically next week. But we did have a joint workshop with ARC and covenants. So Eric represented ARC as a board liaison, Celia and I as covenants co-liaisons. And it was really a great workshop. It was really kind of ideating around how can we improve the design guidelines. There were some good kind of low-hanging fruit discussions around doorbell cameras, trying to make the process, I think, administratively friendly as possible. So I think we got through 2 to 3 pages of design guideline topics. There's a lot to go through, but really engaged group, really great collaboration. And I think we'll definitely want to keep working toward that going forward. Covenants next week. I think it's going to be interesting. I think to Eric's point on ARC, we have a lot of work to do on covenants. We really do. So I think part of, at least my message to the covenants committee, and I think Celia, you're going to echo that, is we really need to kind of look at this thing a little bit differently. I don't think we need to necessarily rip it down to the studs, but we need to really look at this and look at some of the waste, look at some of the inefficiencies we have, and again, kind of look at the resident experience, because we hear it loud and clear that covenants is not running so well. So we definitely want to use this as a good opportunity to whiteboard the process, see what we can do better, because again, we hear it loud and clear. So I think that'll be, I think Celia and I are definitely going to be pushing the committee on that. That's covenants. Oh, and school district, we're setting up a meeting with Terry, and Peggy has not responded on the county. Right. Okay. So waiting on that.
Any other report?
Yeah.
Committee.
Technology.
Yeah.
I had asked John to come tonight to provide the update for the committee. So John, if you can come forward.
Thanks, Andrew. John Greenberg, chairperson for the tech committee. We had our first meeting beginning of March, and thank you, Andrew. Has been very engaged throughout the whole month, even through some of the spring breaks that we had. Team's doing a lot of work, so quickly want to go over 4 things. One, website, pretty much like 99.9% of the website is running right now. A couple little things left, tweaks on it. Thanks, Krista, for my team setting that up. Second, we got the camera for Artisan that we're still going to test. We were supposed to test it a week or 2 ago, but because of spring break, we couldn't find the time. So coming up next week or the week after in April, we're going to have a camera in places where there's no connectivity. So we're using a cellular IoT SIM in there. So we'll be able to get places in Celebration where we normally couldn't have cameras before, to be able to have the camera feed, and then hopefully we can feed it back into maybe law enforcement as well. So looking forward to that. We want to expand that for our security initiative that we've been working on. Third thing, So the My Celebration app is up and live the middle of March. Teleservice was canceled. So a couple things on it. One, from a user perspective, I am not on Facebook, but I hear all the chatter. Some people were complaining about the app not working. The app is working. The experience that people were having that was shared with me is on their own personal devices. Either you have to remove the app, refresh it, or update your software on the app, because the app itself is working fine. My team submitted numerous requests. We get feedback pretty quickly on it as well. So even though some people are saying it's not running smooth and there's been some real negative comments on there, please bring that to our technology committee. We want to hear the feedback. We're very engaged with that. Making comments on a form is not going to get back to us to help resolve that, right? So please bring your comments to us. The other side of that, we're still working with CCDD on some of the features that we need. One of that is sending out mass notifications. I told CCD I have a good relationship with them. We went to bat for them on this whole project. So I'm on the weekly Friday calls. So feedback as well is important to me because I can give it to them when I'm on those calls on Friday. So we have those calls. We've given feedback. We've got updates on it. The developer of the application is amazing, Joe. He listens to us. It's just we need some access for Grand Matters to handle that. The last thing, which is an important one that we're really excited about that ties into what we've heard today, the key access card security for the doors and stuff has started last week. We did it on A51 this week. We're going to go to Arlington next week. Now, this is important. Besides this new locks on the doors, that's just a small piece of it. The access is going to move over to your phone. So I already have the app on my phone. I walked in today. I can use that to have access to the doors. It's also going to have access for your celebration card if you want. You can use your old card if you want. We've had discussions about our facilities, and I really appreciate the feedback from the tennis. I'm involved with many things at Recreational Celebration. I'm a coach. I was VP of Little League, part of the Celebration Volleyball Club. We have this problem with all our facilities. Non-residents coming to the volleyball courts, the basketball courts. We know about tennis. This is not just with tennis, but I appreciate the feedback. I really do. The access with the card and the information on it is going to help us with new locks, new identification to be able to then use that towards a reservation system as well as the goal. So we can see right on your application who has it, what times, access to it, and really get to a world-class system where we can all appreciate, use our facilities that we all love and want to use as a team. So that's the update, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lifestyle.
Everybody? Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Well, actually, we don't have just one.
Then we've got MPEG also.
We have Mark's here to talk because I don't think he'll be here for the discussion part of our agenda, correct?
I'll be here for that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the only thing
I thought you had to leave early.
No.
So you're good.
I'll skip
Okay.
that, yeah.
But you
Otherwise, I don't know.
But you can't talk during that, so you might want.
No, you can.
You can recognize me.
In a discussion.
All right, good. So father-daughter dance, amazing event, February 16th. Wish Radio is the performers. If anybody was at Lakeside, it was amazing. And I think I said it last month also. People thought there was a wedding going on. Then they had Jazz Under the Stars with Nova Jazz on March 7th. That was great. Reggiano provided food. We did have a dance stage, but nobody really danced. What else? Food Truck Friday, March 9th. The Vacationers were performing. The Spring Fling, which is technically the Easter egg hunt, is going to be March 30th. Madamy is sponsoring that. I'm reading off of Jared's recap because he does an amazing recap because I was unable to make the last special event meeting. So this is his writing, which is really, really good. So March 30th down at the Fields is the Spring Fling. They're going to do a lot of things down there. Next food truck is April 12th. The Luau, May 3rd. Everybody set your dates for that. The Holiday Fest, they're working on a date for that, and they're working on some really good entertainment for our holiday concert. That's what I have for that. The service areas, Rose continues to do an amazing job with her service areas, all her walkthroughs. Like I said, Brian got a really nice compliment from a resident today, which is really good because the landscapers seem to get bad comments, but Brian's exceptional. Too bad he can't do all the celebration, but I don't think he can physically. And we're doing an RFP for new landscapers for the service area, correct, Lauren? We're done?
Service,
Small
not the
parks.
service areas for the parks.
Or large parks.
For the parks?
The large parks, right?
So can I ask, is Princeton still doing the service areas?
They are still doing the service areas and they are much more attentive to the service areas.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay, very good. I was under the assumption that they were gone. Okay. Very good. Okay.
Any others before I go to CDD? That's where I'm getting to. I had the privilege of wandering back into the CDD building again. Been a while since I've been there. And my main goal was to try to make sure that the CROA and CDD are moving at a similar speed, because the big items we have are working with them on some of the master plan items, hopefully to get some funding from them in the future so that we can do more things because of our limited resources and limited ability to raise resources. They can bond. So my main goal was to make sure that they weren't moving faster than we were moving, because we have a timeline on MPAG. And so turns out they're very, very close to running at our speed, and they want to run at our speed. They will be attending, their charrette folks will be attending the meeting next week to try to just coordinate with you guys with MPEG. And they requested that we do a joint workshop with them, primarily on master plan issues, but on anything we want to discuss in the next 4 to 6 weeks, so that we stay ahead of the master plan curve. And I said I would talk with all of you about that. And I said,
we had that discussion that we eliminated.
yeah, we wanted to, but they said they want to do it within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And I said, I believe everybody is on the same page with that we want to do it. So we need to think about a date and get back to that.
If they said 4 to 6 weeks, where are we on this survey?
That's what they also wanted to coordinate surveys with their charrette people. That's
Because I don't think we should meet unless we have the survey in, so there's something to talk about.
Well, we won't know more about that until they all meet next Tuesday.
There's also, we need to align on security and some other stuff too. So I think there's value in.
yeah, there's value in a meeting anyway. Even if it's, again, because they don't want to see us waste resources doing the exact same thing their charrette's doing.
Would it make sense then that maybe we need to have an every other month occurrence with them?
Would be I don't think it would be bad for the community. I've always been a fan of joint meetings with CDD and CROA. The problem it used to get into, and I don't think we'll have that now. It got very territorial as to whose meeting it was. But I think we can avoid that going forward. And I think having a meeting, particularly in this master plan period where we've got so much going on, that would be invaluable to meet with them every other month. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. So we'll discuss that. That was the report, and I think that wraps up the reports. Moving on to the consent agenda, Part A.
Real quick, I just want to say I appreciate this. In my tenure on the board, this has been the most effective way to take 40 hours of meetings and put it in a 12-minute segment. So I think the residents appreciate this, and I know I really appreciate these thorough recaps. So thank you.
I do too. I really like it.
Can you write a recap?
Okay.
All right, do I have a motion to approve Academy Row in the consent agenda?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Now we go on to the motion to approve the 9-month contract extension for the contractors, Celebration Lifelong Thriving in Place, Zumba, Nanette's, RTP, and Star Dibs. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Right. How about action items? A is the motion to approve the CROA reserve study by reserve advisors for $33,250 to come out of course, reserve funds.
So moved. Second.
Do we need any discussion?
Can I motion one question for discussion?
Yeah.
Did Grand Manners ever go back on a counter to them?
We asked them if they would reduce their rate at all, and they their response was a hard no.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve opening and funding a business account with Truist to replace the Regions account. Really, Truist, really.
Just for clarity, all of our T-bills are with Truist, so we're just trying to get consistency.
So it's just to have consistency across the accounts. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, motion to approve the playground budget for Spring Park based on the results of our playground workshop, which was on March 25th, just a couple of days ago, out of CROA Reserve Fund. The Finance Committee said, yep, go ahead with $400,000. So we approved an LOI, or tentatively approved an LOI with now I'm drawing top line.
Just a point of order before we start discussion, can we have a motion and a second?
Motion to name top line as a parent.
Yeah, no, I was getting to that. Yeah, motion to to do all these things to approve the playground vendor, which is top line, based on the results of the study, and then discuss the particulars after the motion in the second.
I'll second.
Okay. Now so we talked about 400,000. So we're talking about going back to top line and asking them for the Park and Rec Board, correct? That said they wanted a wow factor.
They gave,
And
they gave the list to go back to top.
And we'll go back to top line with that list and say, you've got to bring it in under this and you need to wow us.
Basically, yes.
How is the tax credit factored into the is it just $400,000 done, or is the tax credit factored in at any point with, I guess, from like, is it 400 plus I don't know, is it just 400,000 is the cost?
400,000 all in.
All in,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the amount,
Got it.
right. And
Okay.
just to clarify the accounts, it is to use the balance of the money, which is 20 to 30,000 in reserves, and then the rest come out of capital.
That comes out of capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to do a presentation to the community.
We will.
Okay.
All right.
So I think just while we're making the motion so that we're clear, so we're directing management to return back to top line based on the feedback from the Parks and Recreation Committee, as Katie outlined, as well as including feedback from the board, as we discussed, on that we're hoping for it to be more of a feature level playground. Yes. Is that clear?
Yes.
Can we put a date? Can we request that they have things back by Monday, April 8th? So that it's.
So we can consider it before the workshop?
If discussion needs to happen.
I will request it.
Yeah.
I understand
let you
they
know
may
if
not
they-
meet
yeah.
that. Yeah, they did give some guidelines, but we should request it. So that
My guess is they will probably be able to meet.
They're starting to work on it anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's
but-
a doable day.
All right, any other discussion?
I guess
Chad.
on that.
Chad, we're the voice from above.
Who's there?
It's Chad
Oh,
from
Chad.
Vigilant.
Hey, Chad.
I think April 8th is a doable timeline. I'll get with her on that.
All right, all those in
I
favor?
guess, well, just one more question. is,
Yes.
If we're going back to top line to rebid, why wouldn't we go and send it back out to comp and to do the same? Just to keep competition between those two providers and making sure that Celebration is getting the best playground we can do.
I think we heard from two really capable vendors at this point, and I think we're not picking the lowest cost. It was really a capabilities driven presentation. And again, others can speak to this.
Yeah, in large part, what the attractiveness among all of us with top line was
They had the project manager.
much faster. They have the project manager here. We've worked with them on 2 projects very successfully. They've done a very good job for us. Their service has been great.
They're donating
And we're getting a tax deduction out of it.
and they're paying for the.
Yes,
Yeah,
which we don't have to pay for that.
which is what, 13,000, I think. I mean, that's
Right, but then we also get the tax credit or the tax deduction. So,
All right, well, I will add that in conversation in the finance committee, it was unanimous that we shouldn't be moving forward with the letter of intent with one.
yeah, but
and
that
go
was,
with both.
that wasn't
So
in there.
That's my representation here.
Yeah,
That at least one on the board is listening to the committees, and making decisions based off that, not just moving forward with one option that I think we're putting ourselves in a corner rather than keeping the options open.
What do you mean one board member's listening to the committees? We're listening
Hopeline
we're
did
listening to
submit,
the committee.
they also did submit a bid for under 400,000 already.
so, but also, so then do we go to Parks and Rec and ask them to give us a budget? that's effectively what we're doing with what Don is saying. Don is saying that finance's lane right now is to give us the budget. Parks and Rec's lane is to give us what they want, the programming. So we're not going to have any cross-pollination between what their goals and objectives are. And really, it's the board's decision based on what we heard in the finalist meetings, and we were generally aligned.
Yeah, we were.
I'm looking at it as having Compton continue to bid alongside Topline is no negative to us or Celebration.
Holding up the process.
Holding up the process.
If you set the deadline, there's no holdup. If they can't deliver on the deadline, then Compton's out that way.
Because then we got to go back and discuss it and discuss it and discuss it and discuss it. We outlined from what they presented to us as a vendor. They were professional. They're here. The product is made in the United States. I think, Eric, I don't know if I'm quoting you, we'll never see that other woman again from the other company that was there. Oh, she can come and fix the part if it's really a small part that's broken. We had a professional company come and present to us, and we all unanimously said, okay. Am I wrong, Charles?
No, and the thing is too, could we go and do a round of best and final offers? Absolutely, we could. We can say top line, Compton, sharpen the pencil. No, we voted 360.
No,
We're not doing 360.
Just be Compton
And top line. Give us your best and final offer. Here's your $400,000 budget. But we've already heard from them. They've already presented to us. We already know their capabilities. All things being equal, I think we're all aligned on top line, and we do have to move. We do have to move with some level of speed in this process, but obviously being disciplined.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's call this question and let's see how the vote goes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
You want to restate the motion?
Yes, the motion is to approve Top line is the playground vendor for Spring Park with a $400,000 budget with the mandate from Park and Rec Committee to add some things the Park and Rec wanted.
Apparent successful vendor.
Apparent successful vendor.
Right. Are we all
correct?
Are we?
Yes.
Because again, and that's the other thing, we can, this is not something.
It's an LOI.
Correct.
It's an LOI. They have not won the bid. They are just merely winning the letter of intent to give us back a playground that is state of the art, that meets the inclusion needs that we are laying out, that has the equipment that Park and Rec wants, and the wow factor that they're looking for that main village park at $400,000, which is a huge budget for Celebration for anything. It's way above what we approved for the two parks. But we were trying to go for the best we can get and get it done so that all these parents can have a place to play with their kids before the school year starts again. And that was one of our big goals, was to get it done before school reopens in the fall.
But get it done the right way.
And get it done well.
It's not,
again, this is not the lowest vendor.
This is not the lowest, it was not a low cost driven proposal. It was the capabilities. What can you bring all across the table, right? Project
360 was cheaper.
It was cheaper.
But this is a great vendor. We've worked with them before. That's the other thing.
And I guess just last comment is my issue is with the letter of intent, not with top line.
I got it.
So that's out there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All those in favor of that motion?
No.
No. Okay. 6-1. Next up is the motion to amend this. Yeah, we'll just do this. To amend the resolution, the consulting body master resolution, so that committee appointments can go through April 2024, so that we can create new committees between now and April 2024 and build new committees.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
E is a motion to bring back an old favorite, the town architect, or the architect to act as a consultant for the CROA board and the ARC committee. The motion is to approve the agreement with Jeffrey Mowen to act as that architect consultant for the board and ARC. That's coming out of operating funds. Do I have a motion?
Great promotion.
Katie? And Celia seconds. Any discussion?
Brief discussion. I just want to ask Jennifer if we can add, because this is an hourly rate billing, if we can add to the revolving agenda for the planning page to quarterly review our expenses on this, just to report. This is an unbudgeted.
I think that's reasonable. Oh, very reasonable ask. A motion to amend.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Jeffrey, we have a town architect again. So, now we are going to F, the fee waiver request. Motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve F, G, H, and I.
Yeah, let's motion to approve F, G, H, and I.
Second. Nope, you can have it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, wow, look at that. Now we're to discussion items. And you guys, come on. 15 minutes. We were going to go for, all right? So Jeffrey, don't do that thing you were going to do.
I'll put a 3-minute time.
Management update.
Does anyone have any questions about the management update? Anything that would listen?
Can we, sorry. Can we talk about Charleston Place?
Sure.
Okay, just because there was some discussion about that. What's kind of the state of that?
You want me to, because I know a little bit more of the history. Okay, so the Charleston Place was repainted in 2022. As has been our standard practice since we started, we get Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams to write the scope of work. The RFP is issued. If there is a service area committee, which there is at Charleston Place, they review the bids. They consult with management on who they want, just like we did with Academy Row in this meeting. That vendor is then put forward to the board for approval. Throughout the project, Rose and Brian Sankis and Natalie Maurer at the time were on site watching their vendor. There were quite a few change orders throughout the project that increased the cost significantly. It almost doubled the cost of the project, but they added in painting porches, even the screened-in porches. There were some shutter repairs that needed to be done. There were also a large drywall repair that needed to be done as well. These were all in consultation with the committee throughout that process. Throughout the warranty period, there were a couple of items noted. The painting of the stairs, there was some bubbling on 1 or 2 people's porches. The vendor came out, repainted those. It was fixed at the time. Then outside the warranty period this year, we had some more bubbling up on one person specifically. The vendor came out of courtesy because they do a lot of work here in Celebration and we have a good relationship with them. They brought Benjamin Moore with them because Benjamin Moore was essentially acting as an owner's rep throughout this project. Both independently determined that the bubbling was caused because the paint that was done in prior years was not done properly, so the steps weren't sanded down before they were painted. So there was chipping from in later years just because it's been loosened because people are walking on it, you're spraying it with chemicals, so on and so forth. In addition to that, it has become more and more apparent over the various painting cycles that the columns in Charleston Place, there is a structural issue likely with them, the way they were installed. Back to 2 painting cycles ago, probably about 9 months after it was painted, the columns and the redone caulking started to pull away. The last painting cycle, same thing, but in a shorter time frame. This painting cycle, an even shorter time frame, the caulking has come out. We recalked once. The second time that we had to recalk after this painting cycle, we said there might be a bigger issue because this doesn't make sense because the appropriate caulking is being utilized. We had a general contractor come out. They confirmed the suspicion. So we had Karen's Engineering come out. We are waiting on their report for where we go from here. If it's a structural issue, then we have recommended to the Charleston Place Service Area Committee to use their economy of scale to address the column issue, because technically it's not a service area issue. It would normally be on the individual homeowner, but it just makes sense that the service area as a whole would tackle this problem as a group because it would be cheaper for everybody overall. And then the whole service area would make sure that it was done and done properly. So we're waiting on that report right now. We're also waiting on repainting of the stairs because of the column issue, because if I repaint the stairs now, then I have to take out the columns and put them back in. I'm gonna have to repaint the stairs again anyways. So that's kind of where we're at.
Anything else on the management?
I guess just to follow up on that. So are we doing any inspection report on Academy Row for that work that we just approved 225,000 for? Is there any concern there that we might run into similar issues of structure?
I don't think
We
they,
haven't-
they don't have columns on Academy Row.
We haven't seen any of the caulking issues that we have at Charleston Place. But we do have, a walkthrough with not only CDD to inspect their properties and before we start the work, because we're gonna have to have the big lifts on their sidewalks to get to the third story. But we're also doing a walk with the painting vendor and Benjamin Moore and Brian Zinke's our offsite leader. So we'll make sure we do a double, triple check. One of the service area committee members is also a GC, and she's been very finely attuned into the issues, any issues that they have. So
Yeah, if you have any issues on Academy Road, definitely bring it to the board sooner than later so we can address them before much work is done.
So they're doing 39 or 38 units.
39. That's Academy Row and Meeting House Green.
Just really quick, there is you guys did your committee updates. You covered a lot of things on the management report, but there's a couple events for lifestyles. There is a hurricane preparedness workshop here on April 23rd. We encourage everyone to attend if you can. Parks and Recs is working on their summer camp. They're trying to do more to get the teams out. So they're doing a team development camp the first 2 weeks of June and July. We're also doing a pop-up dessert thing with lifestyles and a pop-up Earth Day event with Parks and Recs where you can paint a planter and display it wherever you like.
Within ARC guidelines.
Great job.
One last question for management is, I think there was concern on Food Truck Friday that the bathrooms at Lakeside were unlocked for a set period of time. And my understanding is that there is now a hard and fast rule that those doors will always be locked and require a CROA ID to get into for protection or liability to us. Is that correct?
There's never been a hard and fast rule to that effect. They've been open so vendors can go in and out of them. Because you also have an ingress egress issue with the pool bathrooms as well. So this has gone round and round even before GM came on. If the board wants to get a new opinion from council and from your insurance agent, I would suggest that before making any decisions on changing your credit policy. Because there's liability on almost every side of this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big.
Leaving them open, closing them, and locking the ones to the pool have been the three different options tried in the past, and there's a liability on every single section.
I guess if we have the exterior doors locked per usual and the pool doors are unlocked per usual, what liability is that for us?
I'll tell you, being somebody that's been sitting there for 2 years under the Food Truck Friday thing, the kids open the door, let all their friends in, and they go into the pool and they start swinging each other around and throwing each other in the pool and playing with the chairlift and just a whole bunch of things. So I would imagine that would be the liability, right, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons that there's liability in any one of these.
That liability is there every day. Any kid can do that piece. So that's not going to be.
But here's the biggest issue I see.
Well, we're talking about Food Truck Friday.
How can we have an event that attracts that many people and give them no place to go to the bathroom?
Well, they do have the one that is next to Gideon or Killwins. That's the bathroom for all of downtown area.
You're also having vendors on site and not providing them an area to use the restroom.
Yeah.
Which is that where maybe the vendors need a responsibility for that.
How the vendor's going to be responsible? What do you mean?
To provide facilities for usage. I don't know.
What's our revenue from Food Truck Friday?
It's effectively a break even, but
Right.
a couple $100.
I mean, again, like with what we're talking about with depreciation and using the restrooms, it probably is a wash to your point. Okay.
With depreciation, those bathrooms have hit the bottom.
Yeah. They're done.
So on that note, are you all doing the bathroom? Where did that go?
Design build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on management update?
Can I just highlight one thing?
Of
Because I know there's been some complaints about calls being answered.
Constructive criticism.
Yes, there you go. It's as good as your email.
I'm so glad you're on this board.
So there were, from February 20th to March 20th, there were 1,643 residents assisted in person, 1,362 phone calls were answered, and 1,961 emails were responded to. Of those 1,362 calls, 95% were answered. There was an average wait time of 8 seconds, and there was a 4.3% abandon rate.
Good numbers. Very good.
Yes.
All right.
Good team.
Any other questions for management? How about the management company community pulse survey? Who's doing that? Who brought that one in?
So Katie asked for that to be on, but I can kick it off. So as everybody know, we about a little over halfway through the action plan, we issued a full survey to see if there was any movement of the needle in terms of the community's perception of the service provided by Grand Manners. We targeted kind of the specific areas that we had called out in the action plan that were kind of the biggest areas of concern based on the written comments and on the original survey put out by the board. While there were still negative comments, it is trending more towards the neutral and positive. So, I mean, obviously there's still room to grow and improve, and there's always room to improve. But we're seeing it as a positive, and we're just continuing to work through that and push forward with that. I think a lot of the training that we've done with the team in terms of customer service and the cross training and individuals' ability to answer questions without transferring calls is helping, because I can see on these reports that the call transfers are down as well, which is nice for residents. They're getting one-stop shopping at whoever picks up the phone. We've done a lot of landscaping revamps, not just Deerwoods and Pennyroyal, but some smaller parks to bring them back up to standards. And then those are underway. Unfortunately, with Prince and Sons, they've not been so engaged in terms of that. So their parks,
addressing it.
Their parks are a little bit behind, but we are addressing that. The maintenance team is running around like crazy. They're saving money for the association by refinishing all the benches and the garbage cans and the doggy pots rather than buying new benches. They're looking great. And the two porters, I will say, since the two porters started, I have gotten more comments about the cleanliness of the amenity centers and town hall as well. And I can say personally, walking in town hall now, it smells fresh every morning.
Mm-hmm. Such air like the orange. Yeah, the orange cherry soap in the bathroom. Fine.
I want, come on, Rachel. I looked at the old survey and the new survey, and kudos on getting the numbers up. That's really impressive. 2, I actually went through and read the comments. And this brings up a whole nother issue for everybody here. And I heard it at the CDD last night too. Celebration has the most disjointed governance structure I have ever seen in my entire adult life. And most of the complaints were not CROA. They were sidewalk issues, tree issues.
Ponds.
What's wrong with those ponds? What's wrong with the roads? Why can't we get the potholes fixed? Lexington, downtown, disaster. We hate the way that looks. The condos downtown or whatever. These were all complaints against other government entities that CROA has nothing to do with. We are, and I want to make this clear. I think I'm going to do this at every meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the Celebration Residential Owners Association is a homeowners association. We represent the homeowners and we control the homeowners' owned assets. That is parks, except for some parks. Pools, except for one pool.
What do you mean, one pool?
Artisan, we were.
Sienna.
Oh, Sienna took 2 pools. Oh, 3.
Georgetown.
Yeah, 4. Mirrors. All right. So both. But we do not have a single thing to do with the sidewalk in town. We do not have anything to do with the trees in the median areas. We do not have anything to do with the curbs or the roads or the ponds or the drainage or the light or a lot of other stuff. So ECDD, CCDD, the county, CNOA, CJC. Who am I leaving out? School district. Yeah, there's just, so we are going to try to be the best HOA ever within the bounds of what we can do. And these guys, Grand Manors had a rough start, really rough start. But this is a rough community. We're perfectionists. I have never in my life seen so many type A people gather together in one community. We all know better than everybody else.
What'd you say?
Type A people. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you for allowing me to bring that up because I really, that stuck out like a sore thumb on that survey. I went, these aren't even our things. All right, moving along.
Well, just another comment on that. As far as things that are in our control, the three things that I saw, which she already highlighted on too, Lauren, is the playground, which we're clearly, that's our main focus of how we move forward. Second is landscaping, which this board has dismissed Prince and Sons. So hopefully through management's search for a new vendor, we will have improvements there. And then the third piece is that ARC needs improvement, which I know we all agree.
We all agree.
That there's
Yes.
parking
and going forward, NPAC.
Yeah.
But those were, in reading the comments, those were the three things where
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
kind of put it into what were the areas that were most negative, and those three were it.
And I think you bring up a good point because a lot of these, I tried to hint at this throughout some of the meetings. We have a lot to do with this on the board because we haven't either provided funding, we haven't wanted to look at some of our broken processes. So this is partially on Grand Manors, but this is also board driven. And we can go back and we can look.
To be fair, not our board, but
we're going to try. We're going to try, and we're going to take feedback, and we're going to have a serious look in the mirror throughout this process. And again, I think we're all rallied around wanting to work with you, wanting to empower you, make sure that we, to Don's point, drive value, make you really good at running a homeowners association. That's what we have to do. And I do think the one thing that stood out for me was 296 people skipped it, which is what, 61%. So that's just, you're just indifferent. And that's okay. Like if you're just there, that's good. I'm not great, but it shows that I think.
Well, because usually people complain.
Right.
Positives rarely get written down.
Right. So I think that's.
Because we expect good.
Yep.
We hate bad.
Yeah. We still have a lot of work to do, but this is incremental
I was
progress.
just gonna say, ask if the survey can be published to the website since it's been discussed now.
Yes, certainly. It's in the PDF version is in the packet, so it's online, but I will publish the Excel version with all the comments in it, just like we did last time.
Make sure it has a date of when it was conducted as well.
Issued.
That's relevant.
Yeah, because that's relevant going forward, looking backward and going forward.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
good.
one thought that kudos to Lauren for this recommendation, but does it make sense for our April 10th workshop that we do kind of an arc behind the scenes to kind of show what the process is?
Yeah,
get
sure.
input
And I
from the
think it'd be a
community
great idea
and
to just
the-
discuss our whole,
Yeah.
in its entirety too.
So,
Start with a tutorial and then.
right, education for all of us here, but also for the community as well of what that process looks
Andrew, I
like.
think that's a great idea. All
Well,
right.
Kudos to Lauren. That was her idea.
Action plan and performance evaluation. Do we need to do anything on that?
Can I recognize Gary Hudspeth?
Oh, of course. We all recognize Gary Hudspeth. I see Gary Hudspeth now more than I see my wife at all these meetings. Yes, I saw you last night more than I saw Debbie. On Monday. Wait a minute. Yeah, no.
Name and property address. We don't.
Gary Hudspeth, 1471 Resolute Street. At the workshop in early March, you asked about should we evaluate Grand Manor's performance following the action plan. And I got the consensus was, yes, you wanted to do that. And then you said, Gary, could you do that for us? So I've prepared something for you, and I can
That'd be great.
summarize it in about 3 minutes or less. The board's evaluation last summer was based on the HOA elements in the RFP, which became the contract. So this has nothing to do with CROA or CCDD. This is our HOA. And the board made that evaluation, and it came out with about 38 items that the previous board identified as being below standards or below the statement of work. So then on November 27th, the Grand Manners came up with an action plan, a paper copy of it, that addressed the board's concerns of these 38 items in 28 different categories. So then I asked the question, and I think you wanted to find out, what is the board's perception, evaluation of how they've done over the last 120 days, which was the action plan time, and that ends this week. So therefore, I'm proposing to give you a paper evaluation on those 28 different categories for each of you 7 board members to evaluate, not the RFP, not the statement of work, but the 28 identified processes that Grand Manners wanted to correct. And that means in the last 120 days, which is not very much, but you do have the action plan with their intentions in this column. So right now, the Grand Manners is providing a statement of what they've actually done. In the 27 November column, they told you what they wanted to do. Here's what our plan is. Now they're going to give me the things they've actually accomplished. I'm going to write that in here, and at the next
workshop
board meeting at the April, I'm going to give you this to evaluate those 28 different categories, looking at what they plan to do and what they said they did. Now, to help you with that, because you don't want to be inundated with emails with all the background things, because you know they've done training programs, updated SOPs, created action items, protocols, written examinations. They've done updated reports, checklists. They've made videos, and they've published articles, and they have handouts for the owners. They've created guidelines internally. They've done a lot of things, and you don't want to get all that in your email. So what I've asked them to do is put all this information that they've told you they would do in a binder. And it'll be for you to come in and inspect over the next 30 days here at Town Hall. Because it's not enough. You can't write it all in here. And
right, you need the back.
You need to see it with your own eyes. Pretend you're from Missouri, you're from the Shelby State.
I think that's a great idea.
So you will have a month to evaluate on the same scale that you did the original evaluation of 1 to 5. You do it anonymously on paper. I will put down the results and calculate statistics, and you will have that in middle of May.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Gary, that would be amazing.
I better stop talking. Look like Eric wants to talk.
No, I think that's great. The one thing that I think that what I'm understanding this to be, and I think that we need to get clarity on, is that this would be open to records inspection.
Sure.
So anyone from the residents that want to come in as we're reviewing it to see those things, the residents would be able to come in and review said documents as well.
I would hope so.
Wait,
Now,
didn't you say
remember,
anonymously?
You're
anonymous.
You're not going to write your name on these 7 documents you're going to give me. You're just going to circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how you perceive Grand Manners has performed the action plan. What kind of performance have they conducted on these 28 different categories? Those will be assimilated into an analysis that will return to you in May, about the middle of May.
Is it possible to accelerate this so it's not May that we're doing this? If we can do it any faster?
It sounds like a long process.
No, it's a good question. The end of the 120-day performance period is this week.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give Grand Manners about 3 weeks to conduct a extensive explanation of what they actually accomplished and put together this binder. That'll be the middle of April. So then I'm going to put all that together, and I can do that in less than 3 or 4 days and bring it to you at your meeting in April, whether it be your board meeting on the 4th week or if you have a workshop sometime after the 15th.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We could throw a special short workshop in for this purpose. Right.
But then you're going to have time. The last board conducted their evaluation over a 30-day period. So I figured between middle of April, middle of May.
So we could compress that down to.
We're still looking at middle of May though. We're not gonna get this until the board meeting.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So
yeah.
That gives us
that's still really moving forward. And that's what we want to do.
You will have the results before your board meeting in April. I'm sorry, May. I'm sorry. Before the last board meeting in May, you're going to get the results the week after the middle of May.
Playground and other things going on too.
I think
so
it's going to go
smoothly.
Yeah. And I can't believe you volunteered to do all that. Would you stop doing this? You're going to kill yourself.
It's going to be consistent. I did the one for the other board. It's anonymous. I don't know. When I get the paper from you, it's going to be in a sealed envelope. You're going to hand it to me with no names. I will calculate the results. You will get that. That's what's available. The other survey I gave to the board, and the board decides how you want to make that public.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Question, does it make any sense to open up the anonymous survey to residents?
No, because not your typical residents' interaction with Graham Manors is either a phone call or at the front desk. You're evaluating a whole set of circumstances in the statement of work. It's business relationship. You're a contractual signer with Graham Manors. You have a deeper understanding of what you expect them to do.
Gotcha. All right. Then I guess I need to see what the questions are so I can answer appropriately versus,
right.
Are you going to ask me how Charleston landscaping is? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's not about that. If you will go on the website, the RFP that was conducted 2.5 years ago is still there. You'll see the RFP letter and the statement of work. The statement of work is 141 elements that the board determined this is what we want a management company to do. I recommend that you look at that. You're not going to evaluate all 141. You're going to evaluate about 38 of them.
The ones on which they fell short.
Exactly. But that'll give you an idea of what the board's expectation is, and that's what the contract was written on.
Yeah, because it's about board expectations. We want to share that information with residents, absolutely. Okay. But it's about our perception of how they've done.
Yeah, we have a different lens than the
you have a contractual relationship.
Yeah.
Where the residents don't.
We've only been here for 30 days. So again, only so much I can provide direction on.
Yeah, I understand that that's a timing situation, but we don't want to wait any longer because the 3-year contract ends October 31st, and you have to decide on, it's an automatic renewal, but this is part of the process of providing feedback to your management company. And the board is the one responsible to do that.
Yep.
And now the management company has done a good job of explaining what they're going to do. And now they're going to tell you what they did in the binder. And I'll want you to come in here and review it, is how they did it. And it's going to be a lot of paper, but you owe it to yourselves to see what did they actually do. Okay. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for everything. That leads us to management company contract negotiations, which I think in large part, we talked about this at a workshop. Yeah. We got a general sense of the amenability to adjust some things. And I think this will go a long way toward that. Does anyone have anything else they wanted to add to that tonight?
I can't remember who recalled. I can't recall who asked for it to be on as a discussion item.
Well, I didn't put it on there, but I guess the question is the email from Stacy, should that be made public?
Well, it's not private.
It's not private.
But I think that's the basis of what this was called for, to discuss what their offer was to us.
So we should put it.
I think we need to figure out how we're going to go about this, and that may be a workshop thing for the next workshop because we're still in the month of this final phase. So I'm fine if we table this.
I think it's a great idea to table it till the workshop, because then we will have, or even the next meeting, depends on Gary, but we'll have more of an idea of, we've got their proposal. We will have had a little time to digest all that's been going on in our quick period here, our short period with board. So everybody okay with tabling that?
You can table
When's
it
the
and
workshop on our next workshop?
Yeah,
Like,
April.
do you realize everything that's on that workshop?
Yeah.
We're gonna be
We're gonna move. We are gonna move along.
Okay.
We are going to move along
Lauren, can you see that gets added?
even faster than
It's on my list.
tonight.
Yeah, I think just to Andrew's point, though, I think it is important to note to the community, I guess, without saying it specifically, that grain miners did come back to us and that they're willing to negotiate. So they're open to discussion, I think is the most important thing to state.
All right, moving on to Long Meadow Playground inspection.
So I wrote something on this. We can just talk about it quickly. We have the inspection report, the safety inspection report back from Long Meadow. I think that we should direct management to get an RFP, develop an RFP with the following things: prepare, replace, or move items based on the inspection report, replace the grasshoppers with new elements, add a single new element as space permits, and regrade the underlayment or reuse or repurpose the turf, and reuse or repurpose the turf as necessary. I think that's what needs to happen at that point.
So we're gonna keep the equipment
We're gonna
Within the inspection.
Within the inspection.
in the inspection.
prepare, replace, or move items on the inspection report.
Right.
So if we have to pull out the wheel, then we have to pull it out. Whatever the inspection report says we have to do. That's a baseline. Replace the grasshoppers with new elements. They're broken and not usable.
And a stupid idea.
Add a single new element as space permits, whether that's a swing or I don't know what it is. We'll have that be something that they offer the RFP. And then regrade the underlayment and either reuse or replace it.
I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. Anybody?
Was there an issue with the netting, with the placement of the net, that net?
Well, if it is,
It's in the,
Yeah.
it's in the report.
Part of the replace or move things around.
so I wrote this, if we agree on it, to send so that you don't have to be typing out all that I just said. Okay.
Can we add the additional inspection information to online to the?
Yeah, that last piece.
Mhm.
Sure. We're gonna have to put it to RFP, but I'm just wondering with top line. With.
Oh, is there a potential saving?
Right, is there I'm not saying we bypass the RFP, I'm just trying to think if there's a play.
I don't think we should tie one to another.
No.
what is the current playground equipment among
I think you're gonna run into a similar situation with Spring Park. Is you're gonna have fewer vendors willing to touch somebody else's equipment.
Yeah.
We've had a challenge just finding 3 vendors
That's true.
to fix or based on the report that we've gotten. We've had trouble getting.
Savings if there's none, but there may not be in this situation.
It's just a mess we have to clean.
Yeah.
So it's just a mess we have to swallow hard and.
The only piece that the only piece that I would say to Charles's point where I do think there could be economies of scale is in regards to, I know there was a question on whether or not the turf was approved as a safety service for a playground. If we're having to buy turf for somewhere else, I think that if we have to buy another 3,000 square feet of turf, then we just buy another 3,000 square feet of turf, and hopefully they can cut us a deal on that.
So you could somewhat bid this in the RFP. You could bid this a little bit differently in terms of like the bid response sheet, because we did this with the shade structure RFP. You could do the equipment piece and the turf piece and have 2 separate bid response sheets, and maybe somebody just wants to do the turf and somebody just wants to do the equipment.
Yeah, which I think makes sense based off of the playground workshop where we found out a lot of the contractors, you have people that are experts at installing playground equipment. You have people that are experts at installing surfacing.
I don't want to tie it to top line because it will hold up the award.
No, I don't want to hold up.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And Jerry, you talked about adding additional equipment. As I've talked to a lot of residents out at Long Meadow and the other parts, swings are a big thing.
Well, it's missing the 2.
Because there used to be 4, now there's just 2, but adding additional swings instead of the
We
rockers.
also had an ADA swing in the initial.
So do we want to say add 2 new elements because there is space?
Is there space?
Yeah, there's room to add 2 more swings on the line.
Do you want to say
another element?
add up to
2 elements.
if space is available?
Oh, that's a good idea. Up to 2. Yeah.
If space is available.
Has rec committee looked at Long Meadow at all? Not yet. Guess we're. One more thing, is this under vigilance contract?
Yes.
It is, okay. Nothing we need to do to amend it.
Okay. Consensus to work that idea through?
Yes.
Future talks. How about the MPAG 851 design development planning?
Mark Materos.
I bet that's why Mark Matero's here.
Yeah. Go to the podium.
Yep, working on Mark Maturo, 747 Oak Shadows Road. The building is actually doing it for me right now of exactly what the problem is, because it is apparently working. So the RFP that we put together was to do a study of the building with an architecture firm and engineering firm to look at it for the total cost. The studies you had done in the past and the estimates were only for the shell of the building and not for the mechanical systems, the electrical, plumbing. So the numbers are not complete. After seeing a lot of this myself, I think some of it probably could be done cheaper, possibly. So I don't think that the numbers that have been put out are valid. But you need an architecture firm, engineers to look at it to give you the entire scope to then have a real number to know what to do with this building. I think you need to know that number, period, whether working with CCDD, that you end up doing something that's combined or not. But that process, by the time your master plan gets done, planning, everything that goes into developing a new building, wherever that might be, that's going to take a very long time. This building, as you can tell, is at its end. There's probably ways to fix it pretty easily, potentially, but it needs a full design so that you have the full cost. That cost will also tell you if this building is worth saving or not, or doing some kind of level repairs to get it to live up to when a new building might come into service that could house every piece of what's happening here. So anyway, the RFP we put together covers the scope for architecture, engineering, interior design to take a look at possibly improving these spaces, improving the offices. So it's a holistic look at what it would take to get this building serviceable as the civic center that it is. We would recommend that the classes, those things get pulled out in the future into some other building or place, and this just be used for the functions of committees, your meetings, things like that, as opposed to what it's used for now. So we're not having karate classes, self-defense courses going on next to when people are trying to have committee meetings here. So anyway, there is a RFP put together. Needs a little bit of stuff to add information to it, but what we would hope is that you would quickly try to get that out there. We recommended some architecture firms for you to look at that could possibly do that work. Obviously, sooner the better. The faster they can do the look at it, look at the details, recommendations, options, and then definitely study, as you already know, the mechanical systems are at end of life of this building. They last 20 years. They don't last this long.
Yeah, that's 20.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a formal ask from the master plan group. And so I would request as liaison that they have the documents together in a very comprehensive way. I would ask that we turn that to management to put that out as an RFP.
We could do that with the consensus. And I don't think we're
just getting them.
I want to ask a question though. When this architectural firm, whomever it might be, looks at the building, are they going to look at all the possible iterations of this building? Because many years ago, I talked to another architect and they said, you could put a second floor up there. Are they going to look at any of that, or is it just going to be
just stabilize the building? Do what you can with it. Those additions, by the time you spend the cost doing that plus renovating it, you may as well build a new building. Plus, the more square footage you add to this, the more parking you need.
Got it.
So you immediately cause other problems.
If you add square footage, you have to add parking.
But you can put a
Only-
second floor in the back room.
Only over part of this, yes.
In the back room where the activity room is.
Correct.
But he's saying if we added more square footage, we'd have to find places to put more cars because you have to.
And that's
Richmond Hall did this a couple of years ago, didn't they? So it was reported. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's in the studies that show that, but it's cost of an elevator, cost of stairs, and all of that, incredible amount of still work on the structure.
I think we should just figure out what we need to know.
We have holes in the wall.
Yeah, I know, we need to know what this building is gonna cost to fix, and if it is worth doing or tearing it down. We gotta know that. So do we have a consensus?
Just a question on this.
Yeah.
For awareness, do you know ballpark cost, 20, 30,000 for the architectural review, something of that nature?
I don't want to touch that. I want them to get the numbers, quite frankly.
It's not costing us anything to do this RFP.
The RFP is not gonna cost us.
RFP's not.
No, I know,
They're
we're
gonna
just
tell
saying,
you what
as
the
far
cost
as,
is.
you know, as we move forward.
It
if we
should
do
be.
the RFP and it comes back at 100,000, are we gonna be comfortable doing $100,000?
It's information.
Well, that's the conversation at that point.
Yeah.
Correct. What will come out of that is it'll be broken down by phase. So I really want to get it to a design development phase where at least it can be estimated correctly. So that's kind of halfway in, not full construction documents. Personally, I think it probably should go all the way to get complete costs, but somebody can do a better estimate based on a set of drawings at a point in that time in that.
Yeah,
No, I'm for it.
I trust your expertise.
Yeah.
I know you know what you're doing. Board, we're in agreement, so let's put it to RFP.
I'll share the original RFP that Mark shared with the former board, with this board, so you guys know what's
Okay,
being
love to see
issued.
it, but I think we
But
should
yes,
just
I'll
get it done. The faster we can move on this building, the faster because with MPAG wraps up August, is that what it was? July?
But things have gotten a little delayed.
Okay, that's all right. I think CDD last night said we're a little delayed, so it works out.
Yeah, the reality is, you said it correctly, we should be working together.
Yeah.
We're literally can be the same liaison to what their design group is doing. Because we already know a lot of the stuff that they would be trying.
We
to
could say
find out.
both on both
Yes,
sides.
I mean,
Yeah, time and money.
something that should work together.
Yeah, Mark, thank you very much.
I want to thank you guys. This is the best board meeting I've witnessed. So thank you all.
Committee resolution status update.
I think we just need to put dates on things.
Huh?
We just need to put dates on things.
We were planning on the workshop, right? We were planning
The
on.
workshop.
The workshop is where we're going to discuss.
So we need to have our resolutions done by then.
Yeah,
We want to say the Friday before.
Sure. That's next Friday,
Where's next Friday?
but that's fine.
I'm just saying, yeah, is it
Yeah.
comfortable?
Yeah, that's easy.
That way we have the first beginning of the week to review on, to then have a good conversation that way. So
And on that issue, how is the committee application process going? Question.
it's a little slow.
We're a little
We're
slow.
trickling in slowly. We're kind of pumping up messaging to try to get.
On which committees do we need more applicants, would you think? Just so we can put out a publicly.
Art, you have 3 applicants.
We
Comms,
have to have 5 members.
you have 4.
We need 7. really.
Covenants, you have 5.
Getting there.
Dog park, you have 3.
Okay.
Do the people that are on the committees know if they want to?
Yes, they do. The management liaisons emailed them and emailed them again.
Okay.
But they're not all doing it. But they want to do it, but they haven't done the paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got people who want to do it. I just want to, because it's coming up.
There's
Those
only
numbers are
3 on
extremely
finance.
low.
Only
Yeah,
3
they're
on
very low. So we need people to apply for committees.
Yes,
If you're happy to sit through this, then
You'll love those.
it's way better.
there's not one committee that has enough applications to fill it.
Can I ask a question? As a board member, is a spouse allowed to sit on a committee?
As long as she is not on the covenants committee, you are good.
All right. Debbie's not a covenant kind of person.
It was more than covenant.
And finance.
And finance, that's.
Oh, you can't be on finance, I'm sorry.
How are you, this is going on Monday Matters, right?
Monday Matters, Friday Flash. I asked Liz.
Digital
what we guys
signage.
can push.
Are you doing it on the digital
Yes, on
boards?
the digital board.
Wednesday's wine.
Can you just email everyone
Please,
an email,
please
please,
apply.
and then attach a PDF. Yeah.
Put it on the outside,
I
sign.
can't do push notifications anymore, so.
All right, you guys, we didn't get this done in the time I wanted to. We're already at 120.
We have 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, we got 4 more things. Future development of civic corridor, whose is that?
you know what, you can table my 2.
What are your 2?
Future development of civic corridor and then existing amenities.
Do you want those on the workshop?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Access to association records, whose was that?
That was me.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if we could change, the public records request. Inspection of copying records, 720, allows for making records available to the parcel owner electronically via internet. So once the public records request is made, instead of a resident having to come in 10 days, at that 10-day timeframe, can the records be emailed to the resident instead.
And this makes it easier for management too, right?
It does, but I would suggest either kicking this to the workshop, because there's other items in there that I think you're going to want to change that are in the existing resolution that just are tripping points for
So it's a nitty-gritty discussion.
It's a nitty-gritty discussion.
Can you provide a draft of that updated resolution by then? Recommended draft?
I will redline my recommendations and send it to Charlie for him to give me a
That'd be
thumbs
great.
up before
That'd be great.
go to you.
That'd be great. Okay, Long Meadow Playground Equipment. I think we did that.
Lakeside.
Oh, it says Lake Long Meadow.
It was a
typo. Okay, Lakeside. Let's talk about Lakeside. Who's that?
I was just curious, with Lakeside, I know there's some issues with the structure there, and just any updates on the safety inspection for the equipment.
So you were all emailed the safety inspection for North Village and Lakeside this afternoon. North Village, it looks like the equipment there is in good condition and doesn't need to be replaced now. The biggest thing that there's some pieces that need to be replaced, but the equipment as a whole is good.
That equipment has been ordered.
Yeah, it has been ordered and is on its way or will be on its way by the end of the week. The big issue at North Village is the turf and the roots there, so we're going to have to address that. Lakeside, Diane O'Neill, the one that did the inspection, is working with Rep Services to see if we can replace those rusted bolts, because that's the biggest issue with that structure, and a couple of other smaller items. And once she comes to a determination with Rep Services who did that playground, then we will have a final recommendation from her as to whether you should replace or we can repair.
She also recommended some signage additions, which we've ordered.
We've already ordered,
Should be installed this week, and some traditional stickers.
Top line did North Village, right?
Top line did the 5 to 12 in North Village. Rep Services did the top.
Okay.
On Lakeside, just a question. We have a sign that says playground is closed at dusk, yet we have 2 light poles.
Because
Why?
people jump the fence during events.
So that's a security.
Yeah. It's a safety and security issue, because I can't stop people from jumping the fence, but at least if there's a light in there, they're not going to trip and fall as easily as if it's pitch black.
One more thing. So the North Village and Lakeside are both in the reserve study for 2024 technically.
Correct.
Okay, but this is going to dictate too if we need to potentially, if we can, I don't want to say goodbye,
yeah.
but like if we can just repair.
We can extend
Meadow.
We can extend the.
If you can extend the remaining useful life, then it's good to do so. It's the same philosophy as what we're doing with the benches. The benches are up for replacement annually in phases, but if we can restain them and keep them, why not?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, board comments. Oh, yes, you got a question?
Still at Lakeside.
Lakeside, yes, ma'am.
So I didn't get to see that inspection report from Lakeside. I don't know if she mentioned those 2 light poles. Was it in the inspection report, the 2 light poles? Those 2 big things. When's the last time anybody inspected them? And it's an issue with me when I go to the playground with my grandchildren and I see other children run around that pole. Those cables that are attached to that pole that go all the ways up to the light, should they be in a piping or something? Because the little kids could get their arms into that and stuck in there. I don't know, are those wires or what are they?
I'd have to ask Brian to keep that specifically.
I don't know if you're understanding.
I know what you're talking about, but I would have to ask Brian what specifically those things are. I mean, at the bare minimum, we can tighten them into the pole so you can't get an arm through there. I mean, that's an easy fix.
Okay.
Can those reports be published as well?
Yeah.
Like do that.
Just before did we agree to talk about tennis or we didn't? I don't recall.
We can throw it in quickly.
So where are we? So I had to drop on the rec meeting. So what are we doing with what?
Do you want me to give you a
Sure,
little bit?
please.
Okay, so
Please.
2022, there's an RFP put out for tennis, soccer, swimming. I think that's it. Maybe one other.
Soccer, yeah.
Yeah, tennis, soccer, swimming. And it went out to a bunch of different contractors. The rec committee themselves interviewed the top of each section. Advantage Tennis was selected. The rec committee drove the contract process, and the rec committee is really the one that sets Darren's schedule. We did adjust the men's open play schedule last night to accommodate some more prime time spaces. Really, the issue at the tennis courts is a prime time problem. Everybody wants to play early in the morning, late in the evening because it's cooler. Darren gets 2 courts in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 in the afternoons because the kids are out at 4:30 now from school, and that's when they want to do their tennis lessons. We are working. It's on the tech committee meeting for next Wednesday to discuss a possible tech solutions, such as key scans to help with the non-resident issue. Nikki and her team go down there every morning and every afternoon and check IDs. And the other issue we have is people teaching lessons that shouldn't be teaching lessons on the court. So that might be a board resolution to address that issue, to give the rules a little bit more teeth so we can actually ask those people to leave. The other very cheap solution that we discussed this morning to implement is we're purchasing TVs to put in Nikki's office space and in one of the other office spaces to have the live feed of the security cameras of the tennis courts. So it negates the need for a body to be physically there all the time, which according to Nikki, and she's been here for a very long time, was a waste of money and not necessary. But we can monitor it remotely. So if we see an issue, we can head over there immediately. Or if one of the maintenance team is already out there, we can contact them and head over there.
Now, would this technology solution include some sort of scheduling?
Yes, we are working with
That would solve a lot of the problems.
We're working with Gallagher and ONR. ONR is doing a lot of special configuration for us for free. So we're working on seeing an integration there, and ONR is already a scheduling app. It just needs to be tweaked to work for Celebration a little bit better.
Yep.
So hopefully those rollouts will be helpful as well.
Okay, yeah, the one, and I'll echo what I said yesterday at the rec meeting. My one caution is I know the rec committee had the recommendation to potentially add the park monitors. That's not sustainable to add headcount. And it's, again, if someone leaves, then we're kind of back with nothing. And I think technology and other things, it's probably going to be a combination of all of it, but it gives me a little bit of concern to just like throw staffing at a solution.
I agree. I don't think headcount for this specific problem is a viable solution.
Okay.
You're gonna need, headcount will be more useful in Island Village.
Yeah, it's there. We have cameras out there. Are they just, are they audio or just video?
Video mostly.
Are you talking about Island Village?
No, tennis courts.
We do have capability in the system.
To two-way?
Yes.
To two-way.
There is capability. It's not installed, but there is capability in the system.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can
two-way, you can go, hey, hi there. You Celebration resident? Can you show me your ID?
You need to do it with your radio voice.
Right.
You just get up.
Hello.
John McDonald.
God here.
Get off,
You're violating
the courts.
They do that in Arlington, I think.
That's an auto play.
Auto thing.
Yeah. So yes, we can.
See, that would keep, then you, look at all the time that saves.
So I have a controversial question, and I'll wait for things to be thrown at me from the audience for this. But the question for me is, if there's this much objection over having a vendor utilizing amenities, is there likewise another group of people of similar size that are saying demand that we need to have the vendor in the community, or do we need to abandon having a vendor at all?
When we did this in 2022, the groups were of equal size.
Yeah.
There was almost a fist fight in the hallway that somebody had to break up.
That was in 2021, the fist fight.
It was middle of 22.
You see what I said about type A?
Look what you did.
On the topic of the committees, can you email everyone the 2023 resolution so that everybody has something to start with if they don't already?
That's a great idea.
I sent it out, I think a month and a half ago,
Yeah.
but yes, I can resend it.
Get it again.
We're putting in the Teams folder, right? The edits. That was what we agreed to.
Yes,
Okay.
that's been built. and
I will resend.
Can we,
Is somebody doing the universal?
under the universe.
Can we all put comment? Yeah. Can we all opine on it though? Or are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll start it and put it in. I mean, once it's in Teams, we can all edit everything.
Yeah, once it's in there, you can do an edit review piece that will highlight it for
For
your
those
team.
that don't use Teams, I will come to your house and show you how.
when is the deadline for committee? applications?
Wednesday.
Should we,
Tuesday. Yes, we should.
should we extend that?
Yes.
I think we should extend that.
To Friday, the.
Yeah. If we can, that would be just the better chance of getting better people.
It just shortens your review time frame.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can start putting the ones that we have in your folder.
Yeah, then we can review along the way.
Can you also
Yeah.
double down on the the campaign together?
Yeah, I asked
Like, just
Liz to do that last week.
Yeah,
And
every
you'll do
every
the
challenge.
grid again as well.
I will do the Excel
It
spreadsheet
doesn't
again.
need to be linkable, just a grid.
You want the counted, the tally? Well, you guys haven't decided how you're gonna do
No.
this, so it's
I mean, yeah, you can put the tally in, but that's,
already built into the spreadsheet,
okay, yeah, that's fine.
but I'm just gonna use last year's.
All right, more comments?
The only other question is there was email that concerned about access to bathrooms on the weekend in this physical building. So I don't know if we need to address that or if we need to talk about that at the Parks and Rec level or,
So the
because I know it's not a vendor relationship.
carte blanche access to town hall bathrooms on the weekends was put to an end in 2021 because they were getting destroyed and mud all over the carpets. Because we asked that cleats were removed before they came into the building and that was not happening. And then there was toilet paper all over the place, vandalism in the bathrooms, all sorts of fun stuff.
But that was also when CROA had the contract for the.
Exactly.
For the school.
Yes.
For the, yeah,
So,
for
and then-
the athletics.
Right, which we don't anymore.
Which we don't.
Then before the contract ended, between when we ended the carte blanche and before the contract ended, the baseball group would request access on the weekends when they needed it, and we would make it available as needed. Since the contract has switched over at the end of December, they have not requested access back again. So I don't, if you, they
Wouldn't
can.
that be something they need to go to the school now for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their agreement is with the school at this point.
Why don't we talk to Terry? Maybe that's something we can.
I think it's just Gary Whedon over at the K8, the
Yeah.
principal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that the coaches should have
Whoever wrote
access
the
to those
contract needs to
gymnasiums.
talk to whoever they wrote the contract with.
Not us.
It wasn't.
Again,
Yeah.
Right.
not our purview.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think to me, it's also just, so obviously, when there's other entities using the facility, it can be confusing for some people. So I think, why, one entity has access to a part of the building. They think the whole building's open, which is not. So I think maybe just some clarity.
Or a simple sign that says the building is being used for a private function, not open to the public.
Yeah, so Embrace
Yeah.
is ported in and out of that back.
And maybe we just
double
put a
door.
sign up to that extent. It says the building is closed, there's a private function.
Because the added issue you have now is the logo store is out in the hallway too. You want to avoid shrinkage.
Right.
Oh, look, shop for free.
Right. Okay.
I think this just started up with the Little League because they just had their opening day last month. So now and the contract with the school expired in December last year. Our contract.
Well,
So-
they terminated.
Yeah,
that was.
No, that's what I meant. They terminated. So now that Little League is coming back, they didn't know that they probably couldn't access the building.
Thank you.
A second.
We're adjourned. We're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lovely meeting, a little longer than I hoped, but you can't have everything.
You're still under the 2023